Welcome to Go Beyond Betty. Today Tom is going to show you how to do a smoked pork butt. Now if you don't have a smoker, just fast forward through to the end and he's going to give you some ideas for a different way that you can cook it with just whatever you have at home. And when in doubt, just get some pulled pork. Go to a great barbecue place. It's Father's Day. Do something great for Dad. And as long as you just have good food, it doesn't really matter always where it comes from. As long as just leave Dad alone. Let Dad do what Dad wants to do today, right? Just like Mother's Day, all right? So
we're back for another project meal. Today we're gonna do a Boston butt for some pulled barbecue. So this is a 6.7 pound Boston butt that we got from our local pig farmer, Yarborough Homestead. I'll tag them in Instagram when Shannon drops this, but a delicious piece of pork. A Boston butt or a pork shoulder is all from the front of the animal, even though the name is butt. Shannon will include a little picture in the description to show you where it's from, but it's high up on the shoulder of the pig. So there's lots of marbling and fat, and it is best cooked when it's cooked slow and it gets to break down all this fat. All we've done is put together a quick rub. You can use a commercial off-the-shelf rub, whatever you want. I made mine this morning, and what I did was 3 teaspoons of sugar, 3 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper, and then 1 teaspoon each of ground mustard, paprika, chili powder, black pepper, and garlic powder. And I just mix it up. I like to have a little bit of sugar when I'm doing a barbecue pork, so that's why there's so much sugar in there. We're just gonna season it pretty heavily and then put it on the smoker at 250 for 4 hours. So a 6.7 pound butt is gonna take about 8 hours. The first 4 are gonna be on the smoker, getting a heavy smoke ring on it, and then we'll come back and show you what the last 4 look like. I've saved a little bit of the rub for the halfway mark. I'm going to add some in. And then the other thing I have is a spritzer bottle that's 50% apple cider vinegar and the other 50% water. So about every 30 minutes on the smoker, I'm just going to give it a mist to help form up that bark on the outside. All right, our smoker's at 250 and we're just going to drop her on fat side down and then shake any of the excess seasoning back on there. And in 30 minutes, we'll come out and check it for the first spray. So the butt's been on the smoker for just over 4 hours, and I'm going to transfer it into the oven to finish out for the next 4 hours. You can see we've got a nice caramel color on there. It really started to form a good bark. The fat side is down, and it was down on the smoker. So I'm going to spritz it one more time with our apple cider vinegar solution, put more seasoning on it, and then flip it so the fat side is up. Put a little more seasoning and then shut it in the oven to finish out for the last 4 hours. We're using Shannon's grandmother's Dutch oven, which I think will fit really well, and we'll seal it tightly so all that fat and steam and stuff will stay in there and it'll be nice and moist. So we're gonna finish that guy out real quick. And in the oven, we're looking for it to come out at 200 degrees. So the fat's starting to break down really good right now. So it should take about 4 hours, again at 250, but we'll just base it off of the actual temperature itself. So we're gonna seal this guy up. You can put a little juice in the bottom, actually, to help it kind of steam as it goes. So I'll probably put just a little touch of water in the bottom, and then we'll shove it in the oven for another 4 hours or until it reaches 200, and it'll be like pull apart soft. All right, to go along with the pulled pork, I'm doing a vinegar barbecue mop sauce. We'll put the link in there, it's not my recipe. So our pork's all done. It got up to 200 degrees, and I just turned off the oven, let the heat out, and then just left this sit in the Dutch oven for about 45 minutes to an hour just to kind of meld and hang out for a while. You can see there's a ton of liquid down on the bottom. So a lot of that is fat, it's delicious. And then I'm gonna use these handy hooks to shred everything.
that bonus is falling out.
Yeah, so I'll use a knife to cut some of it off the bone. And then if you don't have a set of hooks, my sister-in-law got these for me. They are fantastic. Look at that. Look how it just comes right off the bone. So we'll save that. And we're just pick up some of this so it's a little easier to work with. Some parts are a little harder than others, and then some parts are just going to be pure mush, and they will just shred really easily. So this is all from Yarborough Farms. They have a delicious pig farm. They do chickens, and they've got cows as well. And they sell at our local farmers market, and so we got to meet them and tour the farm, and they just have a great program of how they raise their pigs and chickens and all that. And so super excited to see how this turns out. So I just kind of cube it up into bigger pieces, and then using my Wolverine fangs here, I'm just gonna shred it up and just let it break down. And you can see like that piece is a little harder. Some of these are just gonna fall apart. That's why I throw it in the oven, because I really want to retain the moisture. If you do the whole thing on the smoker, I feel like it gets a little dried out, and then it's much, much harder to shred. Okay, so we're all done shredding. I'm gonna take all this, dip it back into the pot and get it nice and wet and soak up some of the fat and juices that are in there, and then pull it back out and let it strain. And then we'll add a little bit of our cider mop sauce on top of it. We'll just keep that on the side, but that's it. Now you got some pulled pork barbecue. What do you do if you don't have a smoker or a grill or 3 grills like I do? You can totally do pulled pork in the oven. We talked about using the Dutch oven at the end, so you could do the same thing, just leave the lid off, and instead of smoking it in the beginning, what I would do is I would put that on the stove top and get it nice and hot, and then I would, with tongs, use the pulled pork and just kind of like sear it all the way around, so it gets just a little bit of crust on it and a little bit of charred flavor. And then I would take it off of that and put in your liquid and just cook it the whole 8 hours or however long it takes in the oven. You can also add a little bit of liquid smoke to your liquid, and add a little bit of flavor that way. And then instead of periodically coming out and spritzing it with moisture, what I would do is probably once an hour, once every 2 hours, get 2 pot holders, take the Dutch oven, and kind of shake it around so that the meat will turn, but you're not pulling the lid off to release all that steam. So you want it to kind of turn and move the moisture around. So that's what I would do, and it turns out great. You can totally do pulled pork in a slow cooker. You can totally.
So thank you again for joining me at Go Beyond Betty, and thank you, Tom, for being my awesome guest host, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Guest host and cameraman.
Yeah.
The pig's name is Fred. People don't want to hear that.